Hey guys, it's Sam, and today I'm going to tell you everything you need to know before visiting teamLab Borderless in Tokyo, Japan. So if you don't know what teamLab Borderless is, it's a little bit hard to explain, which is why I wanted to make a video about it, because when we went, we weren't really sure what we were going to. Like, we had just seen photos and videos and thought it looked really cool, but it totally blew our expectations out of the water when we got there. So the best way I can describe it is it's not a museum, but it's really like an immersive art experience. When you step inside, it is literally like you're stepping into another world. Like, it's very dark, and all around you there are lights and art and music projecting on the floors, ceilings, walls. Everything is interacting. And the way that the whole building is laid out is that there's no map and there's no directions. So you're kind of just meant to wander around and explore things on your own. That being said, there are several exhibits that are in rooms, or there's some up on the second floor that you kind of just stumble upon, and you'll like all of a sudden be in a room full of lanterns or in a room full of LED lights. And like on the second floor, there's a lot of interactive exhibits. So it's just really cool. We ended up spending about 3 hours total in there, which is much longer than we had anticipated, but there's just so much to see. So you're not gonna want to miss it, but there are a couple of things I think will make your trip there a little bit easier. And the first thing you need to know before visiting is that you have to buy your tickets online in advance. teamLab Borderless only sells a certain number of tickets per day. So if you're traveling in a busier season, it's very possible that if you wait until the day of to try to buy your ticket there, they'll be sold out. So you're gonna wanna get it online on their website in advance, which I will link in the description. On there, you'll be able to see the hours, which kind of vary from season to season, so double check and make sure you know when it opens. And you'll also be able to select the date that you want to go. So it is closed on the second and fourth Tuesday of every month, but other than that, it's pretty much open every single day. We got our tickets, I think, 2 weeks in advance. I would recommend doing at least 1 week in advance and just kind of monitoring it and making sure that it's not sold out. The price for the tickets is 3,200 yen, which is about $30 US. And honestly, it's so worth it. I would have paid 3 times that amount. You can buy cheaper tickets for late night entry, but I wouldn't recommend doing that just because I think you won't get to see everything that you want to see. And also because at that time, there's probably going to be a lot of people there. And that brings me to the next point, which is that you should probably get there when it opens or before it opens. So even if you already have a ticket in advance, if there are a lot of people there, they will make you wait outside the building in a line before you go in. We got there probably 15-20 minutes after it opened and stood in line for about 30 to 45 minutes to get in, which wasn't too bad, but it's basically just because of crowd control. Because of the nature of everything kind of being dark and uneven inside, they're not gonna let too many people in at once. So it was worth the wait, but if I would have known that we were gonna have to wait that long, probably would have went ahead and gotten there a little bit earlier. Another thing to know when you're planning your trip is that teamLab Borderless is actually in Odaiba. Odaiba is a part of Tokyo, but it's actually an island that's connected to Tokyo by Rainbow Bridge. So unless you're actually staying in Odaiba, it's probably gonna take you at least a half hour, if not longer, to get there, depending on where you are in Tokyo. We were staying in the Asakusa area, and it took us just under an hour to get there. It's very easy to get there. You can just plug it into Google Maps and it'll get you there no problem, but just make sure if you're trying to get there before it opens that you kind of account for how long it's going to take you to get there. So, onto the museum itself. Like I said before, there are no maps or directions once you're inside. And this is really cool because it kind of creates an atmosphere of just discovering things on your own. The only downside to this is that it's hard to know if you're missing anything. It's so easy to get lost and turned around and you're not really sure where anything is. So what I would recommend doing is just kind of going onto their website and looking at all of the exhibits. So there's a tab on top of the website that says artworks. And here you can kind of just browse photos and look at the exhibits and kind of see if there's anything that really sticks out to you that you're like, I have to see that while I'm there. The only thing to know is that the exhibits do change per season, or like when we were there were a couple of exhibits that were just shut down for maintenance. So you might not get to see absolutely everything that you want to, but at least that will give you an idea of what you want to see when you're there. So if you're looking for a specific exhibit, you can ask one of the employees there and they'll probably point you in the right direction. It might be a little bit of a like, oh, it's over there, which isn't really helpful, but just keep asking and they'll eventually get you there. Another thing that we kind of noticed the longer we were there is that there's all of these like arrows on the walls. I wish I had taken a video of them, but it pretty much just looks like this. And we kind of noticed that when we started following the arrows, they would take us to something. We weren't sure what it was, but most of the time it was to like a really cool room that we didn't even know existed. So if you see the arrows, I say go ahead and follow them. So another thing to know, once you're inside, you might have to wait in lines to get to a certain exhibit. So the two exhibits that we saw that had pretty significant lines on the outside were the Forest of Lanterns, which is kind of that room full of floating lanterns, and the Floating Nest. So we actually did not wait in line for the Floating Nest. It's kind of like a suspended nest that only holds like 2 or 3 people at a time. So we were gonna be looking at waiting there for a very long time. But we did wait in line for the Forest of Lamps and it moved pretty quickly. The only kind of downside about that was that they only let a certain number of people in and then you're only in there for like 2 or 3 minutes before they shuffle you out and the next group goes in. So that was a little disappointing, but I think if we would have known that we wanted to see that ahead of time, we might have tried to go straight there once we got in. That way we could like enjoy it without being like shoved out of the way for the next group. So if you're going in a really busy time, that will probably happen for you too, because we weren't even there in the height of tourist season. So a couple of other exhibits that I'll just mention because they were my favorite and I don't want you guys to miss out on them was the Chasing Crows exhibit, which we literally just stumbled upon. And it's just this small corner that has a song and these like lit crows that are like flying everywhere with the music, and it's so cool. And I will play a few seconds of it here. Oh my gosh. Holy crap, I feel like I'm like flying. One of the other things that I really loved was the Crystal World, which is literally just a room full of LED lights. I felt like I could be in there forever, and that was one of the places that we found by following the arrows. It was just like a hidden door that was all of a sudden there. And then another one of my favorite rooms was the Black Waves room that had all these big beanbag chairs, and you could just like lay there and watch these waves and relax and listen to the music, and it was just so peaceful. We didn't make it to the tea house, but there is a tea house up on the second floor where you can actually order tea and food. And then one of the last things that we did that was really fun is up on the second floor, you can actually like draw a sea creature character and they'll like scan it in and have it appear up on this wall with like everyone else's drawings. So that was really fun. There is quite a bit of stuff for kids too up on the second floor, by the way. It's definitely family friendly. So that's basically it. It's just impossible to capture this place totally in a video. And honestly, I wouldn't want to, because I want you to be able to experience it on your own. So I hope you feel a little bit more prepared on your trip now, and let me know in the comments if you like this video or if you want to see more videos about Japan and things to do in Japan. And I hope that you have so much fun at teamLab Borderless. Seriously, one of my favorite things to do in Tokyo, and I know it will be for you too. See you next time.